everyone. Welcome to Strictly Baseball. I'm Jacob Brown, joined here with Steve Cashin. We're going to go over the last few weeks in Major League Baseball and talk about what's going on today. So right now we've got some weird stuff going out in the NL East. The New York Mets have a 4.5-game lead somehow. I don't know how. They've got a lot of injuries. Not on top of the injuries, all their hitters before the injuries were slumping. Michael Conforto, Jeff McNeil, they're injured right now through late this month, possibly through next month, but they were struggling before they got injured. Dom Smith, he's only started to get going a little bit in the last 2 weeks. His power numbers are way down. JD Davis hasn't been the same guy. Brandon Nimmo, he was injured for part of the year. He's just now getting back. Pete Alonso just got back. And somehow in this division, they're 4.5 up. I don't get it. I mean, Atlanta, we'll talk about their drama in a second, but got to give the Mets credit. And DeGrom was out for a few starts as well. So the Mets, they're winning games.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what they're doing over there. Syndergaard's still out. He
was delayed too.
Yeah, he exited one of his rehab starts over in St. Lucie, left in the first inning. I think that was a week ago, but still they're finding a way to weather the storm in a division where we all thought that the Phillies, the Braves, and the Mets would all be neck and neck. But the Mets also have had a lot of postponements, rain delays. So that teams that lose on that day, you gain a half a game because you're idle. But nevertheless, they're 27-21. They're hitting the ball well. Their star players, other than Lindor, producing runs being batted in. So they're doing a good job. They're pitching well, and they're taking advantage of the other teams not playing up to their potential this year. That being the Phillies and the Braves, but still a long way to go. But we're really almost at the quarter. I think we're a little over the quarter pole right now. All-Star break will be here in a little less than a month. So as much as we can say, it's a long season, but it's going to be here before you know it. And July baseball will be here, and you got to be playing really good by then, or you're pretty much out of the mix.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's pretty crazy that we're only a month or so away from the trade deadline, that it's coming up that close. Because some teams, there's a lot of teams around the league right now. This is around the month where you're like, okay, if we're not good in a month, then we're either going to go one way or we're going to go the other way. And this is the time of season when it's like, okay, if you've been struggling for the first 2 months of the season, you're out, or we're going to try and move you. We're going to try and get someone to replace you. That is this time of the year, I should say. What do the Mets need? I don't know. Like you said, they've got guys to fill every position. Whether they were producing before or after injury, they're going to, even if they're not, most likely. But to me, I think what they probably should do, and if they're looking to advance in the playoffs, get a better bullpen. I think their bullpen's good. Trevor May is good. Edwin Diaz up and down. They've got some other guys, but get another big arm. I'm sure there's a lot of 500 teams that have an arm that they could say, okay, give me that for a 3rd-round draft pick, something like that. That's what I think the Mets might need, because every position on their field is filled. And rotation-wise, Syndergaard's delayed another 2 months, which, this guy, how many times he's injured more than he pitches? It's really ridiculous at this point, and he's not going to get a long-term contract because of it. But if, when he comes back, but still, Carrasco, he hasn't even pitched yet, and they've still gotten good pitching from their starting rotation. Obviously, DeGrom with the 0.7 something ERA, which is like, what the hell? And I saw the other day, 46% of his outs are strikeouts. So, it's really inconceivable how people just can't hit him whatsoever. But yeah, and Marcus Stroman's been pretty unreal. David Peterson, all these guys. So I don't know, because it's tough to judge a team, like you said, rain delays, and then plus you're playing a division that's quite frankly showing itself to be pretty weak. So what are they compared to everyone else? They probably get trounced by the Dodgers. They probably get trounced by San Diego. What would they be like against San Francisco, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. They have a series against the Padres this week. But, that's kind of where I'm at with the Mets. Are they next level, or are they just good because they're in the East?
Yeah, I think they're doing all the right things, like we mentioned. The pitching's been there for them. You look at DeGrom, who's been unreal for the last 3-4 years. Guys can't get any run support when he's out on the mound. Stroman's doing his part, 2.6 ERA. He's 4-4. I mean, it goes back to these starting pitchers that are 1-4. That David Peterson's 1-4 with the 5.8 ERA. But you look at all these starters that they have. T1 Walker 1.84. Like, so
Walker's been great.
Yeah, your three starting pitchers that you look at a staff. If you have three guys that can really give you 6-7 quality innings every night and a quality start every fifth day, you're gonna give yourself a great chance to win. And those three guys at the top of that rotation have been doing that. And Lou Chessie's been very underwhelming this year, 1-3 with a 6.56 ERA. People thought he was gonna take the next step and pitch a little bit better for him, but you still have three solid starters that when they're out there, you feel confident enough where you can get the win. But the bullpen too, they're throwing the ball well enough. Edwin Diaz, 3.2 ERA, but he's starting to find himself a little bit. Aaron Loops pitched well. Familia has a 2.04 ERA. Castro and May, so they have a solid bullpen. Definitely guys that could slot into any, I think, bullpen in the major leagues. But I think, like you mentioned, is get that solid bullpen guy come trade deadline, and you'll be solidified. Because I think the hitting for them will come around. Maybe at some point, Lindor maybe catches some fire, catches some wind in the sails, and gives them another bat. But McCann's hitting well. Alonso's he's doing his thing again. So it's really just kind of finding it all and putting it all in one motion for the Mets. So playing good baseball in a kind of cruddy division right now, but it is what it is. You play who you play, and credit to where credit's due, and they're still finding ways to win. So big series coming up against the Padres. If they take 2 out of 3 there, I think you really got to take them seriously and go, hey, this might be the team that takes the East. But still a long way to go. I'm waiting for the Braves to turn the corner. I don't know what the issue is there. The Ozuna thing that came out last weekend. Just a team that went to the World Series, went to the NLCS last year, blew a 3-1 lead, was right there on the doorstep of a World Series appearance, and now it's kind of come crashing down on them, and they can't seem to find their stride. So that's a team that really has, I think, shocked a lot of people with their offense and their pitching. Just hasn't been there all year.
Yeah, you mentioned the Braves. They just, at this point, they have some sort of problem with success because they have problem. I mean, before this year, they had a problem getting past the first round. Now, the year after, they go further than they've been in a long time. You have this Marcell Ozuna incident after they give him a humongous contract. You bring in Charlie Morton. He's not good. One of their up-and-coming young starting pitchers, Huascar Ynoa, decides to punch something, breaks his hand, and he's out 3 months. Can they handle winning? Can they handle the pressure? And there's some teams this year around the league that I'm like, you know what? No, they can't, including my Yankees. That they can't handle the pressure. The Braves are looking like that right now too. You were right there on the doorstep. You had 1 game to go to the World Series. Nobody was really expecting you to go that up front on the Dodgers, and now Ozuna, he might go to jail. So you're talking about a lineup that we were talking about in free agency. No Ozuna, who's in there, right? And now Duvall's in Miami, so you don't even have anyone to slot in. What's his face in center field? Pache, he's still developing, right? So really you only have Acuna and Albies, he's just a little bit above league average. And Dansby Swanson, he's been getting better lately, hasn't had a great year. Austin Riley, he's come on the scene, 320, 10 bombs so far this year. So he's had a good year. Freddie Freeman, as always. And then d'Arnaud. I don't think d'Arnaud is doing right now what he did last year. I might be right or wrong there. I haven't looked, but
yeah, he's on the. I pulled up their. He's on the 60-day right now, so he's out. Pache's out. He's in the 4 now. No, sorry, that's my bad. He's in the 40-man now. Their backup Alex Jackson, catcher's on the 10-day IL. So the catching spot right now for them is William Contreras, and he's only 23 years old, young kid, batting .222, and you're missing some key components to your lineup. And obviously the Marcell Ozuna thing it's bigger than baseball. That's a whole different incident. I don't know what that's all entails. I haven't really read a whole lot about it. But that's some serious stuff that he's going to be dealing with. Like I said, bigger than baseball. That's out of, I think, the Braves' concern right now is just getting that thing squared away. But other than that, I mean, they got a bunch of guys that league average at best right now. You have Acuna and you have Albies, and then other than that, Austin Riley's batting 303. Guillermo Heredia, that guy's jumped around all over the place. He's batting 276, but only 2 homers, 11 RBIs. A lot of guys that are just kind of platooning around that lineup. So there hasn't been consistency with this whole team all year, pitching included. You have Drew Smiley in your rotation that's up and down, up and down. Soroka's not back. Max Fried, he's been not the guy we saw last year, which I think we all kind of figured. Had a great year last year in 60 games, small sample size, now a full year. Let's see how he bounces back or continues to do what he was doing last year. And it's been a struggle all year. And I think this team needs one little run of kind of what the Rays just did. Go in a 20 game span, go 17-3 or 18-2, something crazy that, hey, this is going to turn our season around. Now we're back on track. But I just don't see it with the injuries, the struggles, guys missing. I just don't see it happening for this Braves team unless something changes in that clubhouse.
Yeah, I think the thing that they benefit from is their division, number one. Although I think the Phillies, the Mets, when the season keeps going, they are going to be neck and neck in terms of being a thorn in their sides. Even if one's kind of out of it, they're going to be right. These teams are going to know each other, are going to be playing each other tight all the time because they're very even roster wise. But I look at these teams and the Braves. Hold on one second. So yeah, the NL East is going to be tight for the rest of the year. There's a lot of teams that are going to be bunched up together, playing each other a lot. And what are these teams going to do to differentiate themselves? The Braves don't have enough bats. Clearly, I mean, Ozuna might not be back. I mean, he's not going to be back this year. Let's just face it, he's not going to be back. The Mets probably need more bullpen. If their hitters are still injured, they might need more bats later down the line. Phillies, I have no idea because with them, I look at them and it's like, well, they were up here beginning of the year. They were really good. Harper gets hit in the face. He was out for a week after that, came back, struggled for a week. Now he's on the IL and he's been there for 10 days. And in this little period of time, the Phillies have kind of just turned into a mediocre 500 team. And it shows you what Bryce Harper is. When he's Bryce Harper, he makes a team, right? And so they haven't had prime Bryce Harper really since before he got hit. And so this team hasn't really been the same. Wheeler and Nola have been absolutely dealing, but their offense can't consistently score runs without Bryce Harper. So yeah, I mean, that's the state of the Phillies, in my opinion.
Yeah, they played the Rays last week, Saturday, Sunday, and it was very not uninspiring baseball I was watching, but it was just it was bland. The bats for the Phillies just aren't there. You have Rhys Hoskins batting 270, Bohm's batting 213, McCutchen 209. So you got a bunch of hitters that are really just not producing enough at the plate, not enough run production, getting guys on base enough. And like you said, you mentioned the pitching has been there for them. You have Wheeler and Nola who are shoving, and they're not getting any help. Wheeler pitched on, I believe it was Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. He had 14 strikeouts. And I'm like, and they still got the loss and they still lost. And I'm like, it goes back to the bats. There's no one's getting on base, no one's working counts. And it's unfortunate because they have 2 great starters, and you have a third in Eflin who can throw decent enough, get you enough wins where you're competitive. So I think it's
of a classic 3 starter.
Yeah, he's a 3-4 hole guy, and he'll get the job done. It's not every night it's going to be an ace showing, but it's good enough to win you a ball game for sure. So it's disappointing to see this Phillies team kind of taking the sidestep here, but it is what it is. They just don't have enough run production at the plate, and that if they can stay 500, being that wild card mix come trade deadline time, that's a team that maybe goes and buys some bats because they have enough pitching, enough bullpen to win you games, and they just cannot score to win. So that's the key for me for that Phillies team. Still a long way to go. This division's wide open. If we're being honest here, I think this is my bold prediction for the East here. I don't see the Mets as the Mets until if they get 20 above 500 somehow and they just keep winning and shoving in our face. Yes, they'll win the division, but I just don't see this Mets team. The continuity, I don't see it happening. I really don't. They always go through that one lull period in June or July where they lose like 10 or 12 or something crazy.
Yep.
I don't know. I could be wrong here. This division's been all sorts out of whack. But I think like a Phillies, if they stay 500, they have a legit chance of creeping back in if they get the bats going. If they get Harper back, it's a different story. But as of right now, I think the Mets are in good shape. But I think the Phillies they're not out of it by any stretch.
No, not at all. And the Mets, I don't know if they'll necessarily fall apart, but they might not win the division. They don't have it on lock. You look at that rotation. If they can get the four big guys going of eventually, I'm saying DeGrom, Stroman, Walker, and Carrasco once he comes back, and then maybe Syndergaard. Well, that's a really damn good rotation. And then if you add that bullpen piece, but then again, the question is, Conforto was struggling before he got injured. He's out all of June. McNeil, he's out all of June. He was struggling before the injury, hitting under 250. Same thing with Conforto. He was in like 213. Dom Smith, like he has 3 home runs this year after last year tearing the cover off the ball. So this team, and James McCann, their free agent catcher, terrible. Francisco Lindor, we've gone over it. He ain't a top 10 shortstop. Last year I was saying he's not top 5. Now he's not even top 10 the way he's been this year. So I don't know. Again, it's really up to the hitters, which before the year, we didn't think that. So this division is going to be interesting. But you mentioned to me before we got on about the Cubs, about how they're winning a lot. I think a lot of it, though, I was actually tuning into a Cub game. I was at my grandma's house. We were watching games. My brother graduated high school and everything like that. It was a great day. I'm watching the Cubs, 20-10 record at home. So they feel pretty comfortable when they're at Wrigley. That's always what Cubs teams are like. They always like playing at Wrigley better. Although last year I think maybe they were worse at Wrigley, but there were no fans, so it doesn't really matter. But when the fans are there, they're better at Wrigley than they are on the road. But Chris Bryant has been unreal this year. Rizzo's been better. Javi Baez is back. And you can call me a clown all you want. I was totally against Baez before the year. He has come back and proved me wrong. He's been really good. Ian Happ's starting to perform a little bit better as well. So the Cub team, and Craig Kimbrell, by the way, revival season. So good for him. In this division, the division's not good, but the Cubs are good. The Cardinals somehow are winning, even though I really don't know how. Their lineup's like meh. So if the Cubs can just string and keep doing this, they might just be able to win because everyone else is just in the middle.
Yeah, this is my pick preseason. I picked the Cubs to win this division. I thought I was based solely on hitting. I said maybe if this team can score enough runs and they get some bounce back from the bullpen, like I said, Kimbrel and even Dan Winkler he's at 0.46 ERA in 22 games out of the bullpen. So you have 2 guys with sub 1 ERAs, Winkler and Kimbrel, that are really shutdown guys in that bullpen. So the success for this Cubs team the last 10, 12 games has been, all right, we're going to score 7, 8 runs. All right, the starters don't get it done. We're going to score enough to win, hand it over to our bullpen, and we'll shut it down. So they're coming off of a great month of May, and no one at bat wise, everyone's batting 250 and above, really, just about, and they're just doing their job. They're getting on base, they're scoring runs. Baez 14 homers, 38 RBIs. Rizzo 5 jacks, 21 RBIs. Contreras.
What's his average? What's Rizzo's average?
Rizzo is batting 275.
Oh, okay, yeah, that because earlier in the year he's hitting like 220, so I was a little scared there.
Yeah, and then he's got an 832 OPS.
Oh,
Baez an 809 OPS. So they're doing a good job right now. just came off a 3-game sweep of the Padres. They've been taking 2 out of 3. They've been winning series. No, that's just the bottom line. If you win a series every week, it's you're gonna be slowly climbing your way up the standings. So they had a great month of May. Hopefully they can keep that success going. They start off 4-game set tonight against the San Francisco Giants. Then they go to San Diego. So a little West Coast swing. A little tough stretch there. So they're playing well. Like you said, they're 10 above 500 at home. They love playing in Wrigley. The fans are back in the stands. I think they kind of get that excitement factor when they play at home. And if you can be somewhat a little bit above 500 on the road, you're a great home team. That's a recipe for success. So
yeah, because if you win the division, you get a home series.
Exactly, and
yeah,
they just have been. Everyone kind of wrote them off. End of April, they were like, "Wow, this Cubs team really underwhelming." We said it too. It was just facts. You just saw on the field that the play wasn't there. The hitting, the bats were really struggling, and now they've kind of started to find their game a little bit. So, like I said, long way to go, but they've eclipsed that St. Louis team that's kind of just really stagnant. They're a boring team. I watched them the other night. They just like watching paint dry. It's either like you're winning a 3-2 ball game or they're getting blown out of the water. Last night it was last night's game. They got freaking killed.
Yeah.
11 runs in the first inning.
Yeah.
The starter, I think who started last night. Let me pull this stat line.
Wainwright last night?
Huh?
Was it Wainwright?
No, it was Martinez, I think it was.
Oh, Carlos Martinez. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna pull this.
He's the most bipolar pitcher in the major leagues.
Let me pull up his stat line. This is crazy. If anyone's a pitcher, you're gonna look at this stat and you'd probably throw up. Oh, where is it? Am I like blind? Here we go. Box score. All right. So yeah, Martinez, he started the game. He pitched 2/3 of an inning, 6 hits, 10 earned runs, 10 runs, 4 walks, 1 strikeout. Good Lord.
What's his score right now? 7?
5.83 somehow.
How's that even possible?
I don't know. He must have been like in like the 2s or something because
wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, no, listen, the Cardinals, you're right about their team. They're boring. All it is Tommy Edman. He's a base hit guy. Although, ironically, I'm always saying with the Yankees, let's hit some base hits. I'd love Tommy Edman right now. You know how badly.
You would love some base runners right now as you just strand runners on 2nd and 3rd, and the Rays close out the 4th inning. But you just need guys like that. That's what New York needs, but that's what the Cardinals are. They get on base, they take their singles, they move them over, play small ball. There you go. And we're gonna score 2 runs and win 2-1 somehow. Boring.
Yeah, well, I know a lot about the Cardinals. I just played my brother in MLB The Show the other day. St. Louis Cardinals Giants. I was the Giants. I lost. That means the Cardinals are better. That just proves it right there. But yeah, no, the Cardinals though, they are boring. But Alex Reyes, one of their relievers, incredible. He's like 0.69 something ERA, 99 miles per hour coming out the pen. So 9th inning comes around, the Cubs and Cardinals both have that big weapon with Reyes and Kimbrel out there. But everyone else in that division, the Brewers, they're kind of just, again, like they can't hit, but they have, I think, a better 1-2 punch than the Cubs do with Woodruff and Adrian Hauser. So not Adrian Hauser, Corbin Burns. I think Woodruff and Burns are really just dominant strikeout-wise and ERA-wise this year. And then you got Devin Williams and Josh Hader out in the pen. So pitching wise, they're really good, but it's just for some reason I don't know how to explain this team, like they're not there for most of the season. They're just kind of treading water. And then like you saw last year, right at the end, they're in the playoffs, right? So the Brewers always seem to just stay in till the best possible point, catch fire at the right point. And I think they have the type of team to do that. Cause like I said, you get 2 pitchers going at the same time, which they are right now, that's what keeps you treading water. Then you get your offense going. You go to the trade deadline, add some bats. You add support for those 3 through 5 starters. The Brewers, I think, have the highest ceiling out of any of these three teams, because I think the Cubs and the Cardinals, I don't see them really doing much at the deadline. Maybe the Cardinals at a bat, but I feel like there's more room for roster improvement with this team. So, what do you think about them, Steve?
The Brewers are. I mean, that's always an interesting. They're an oddball, like you said. They kind of lay in the weeds all year. They'll start out either hot, cold, play better baseball, cool down, stay at 500. Let's win 9 straight. Now we're gonna lose 6 straight. It's like it's one of those teams that just kind of you never get a gauge on. I don't really watch a ton of Brewers baseball. I watch a ton of highlights.
Where's Jensen at?
Yeah, where's Jensen? We need some inside knowledge here, but they're playing better. They got Willie Adames from my Rays, and he was batting 190. Now he's batting a whopping 289. So, just classic Rays. But we'll get to the Rays in a little bit. Wander Franco is raking right now in AAA. But no, that was a great addition for the Brewers. I think you get a new scenery. You have now 2 shortstops. You have Adames and you have Urias. Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah.
Luis Urias. He's batting 223 with 6 homers, 24 RBIs. And so if you can platoon those 2 guys and they're batting around upper 250, 260s, right in there, you're good. But I think this Brewers team, they catch fire late. Like you said, it happens every year. They're 1-2 games back come last week of the season. I think they're a good enough team with a good enough ceiling, like you said. If they get guys like you have obviously Christian Yelich, who's unreal. Abigail Garcia is having a good year.
Yelich struggled last year. This year he only has 72 ABs, 250 average, 1 homer, 5 ribbies.
Yeah. Jeez. Oh yeah. Look at that stat line. That's crazy.
So he hasn't even gotten going yet, and they're still, what are they, 29 and 26 without Yelich.
Yep.
That's big right there. That's an MVP that hasn't been an MVP.
Yeah, and if you're still treading water with your your best guy not producing, and that kind of says something. So yeah, the ceiling is sky high. It's if you get guys going at the right time, if you get Yelich just going house of fire at some point, then yeah, you have the capacity to win a ton of games, and they're getting enough pitching. Woodruff, Peralta, even Hauser.
Yeah.
I mean, you go down the list. Corbin Burns, 2.24 ERA.
Burns set the strikeout, no walks record, and then Garrett Cole beat him 2 days later. But Burns, history, Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, that's impressive stuff. And Woodruff's just throwing the ball well too. 1.27 ERA. Like that's just, I don't know. They're getting good pitching. I think not enough people are paying attention to the Brewers, and I think they're quite content with that. You can focus on the Cubs all you want. You can focus on the Cardinals. They're 2 big markets, yes, but they're just doing their thing right now. They're pitching well. They're getting enough hitting. I think they'll be in great shape. I think if you go out and get a key addition, I don't know if you need a bullpen guy. I'm looking at their stats right now. Josh Hader's 0.83 ERA. Everyone else, Sutter, Boxberger, Devin Williams, all those guys mid-3 ERAs.
Oh, hey, Mr. Devin Williams, who everyone said was untouchable, 4 ERA, 4.19.
Yeah, 4.19 ERA. So I think if you're the Brewers, you need to go get some back-end bullpen help. They just sent 2 guys from the Brewers over. I think it was JP
Fireisen. Yeah, he went to the Rays.
Yeah, he went to the Rays. So yeah, scratch that one right there. So he's out of the bullpen. I don't know who was the second part of that deal, but I think back-end bullpen help is what the Brewers would need if they want to make a push. Maybe one more bat, because I think the starting pitching is good enough to get you there. So yeah, you make a great point, and I think they have all the capability of making the postseason. It's just a ton of baseball left, and just keep doing what you're doing, keep chucking, and things will all pan out.
Yep, I'll just never forgive them for American Family Field. That's just tragic. Miller Park was the best name, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's just doesn't even sound right.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, the Mariners, their T-Mobile Park now, just all these brand stadiums. like the Rays, their crappy name, Tropicana, But anyway, NL West, Dodgers, Giants, Padres, they're the three best teams in the NL, and two of them might end up playing in the NL wildcard game. I don't know. I mean, that's why. I mean, I get it's like beating a dead horse, but we say it every time we talk about the NL West. Why do we have the wild card game? Can we just do seeding? Because these teams should not be at the end of the year. You have the Padres and Giants eliminating each other in one game. You might have the Cubs and the NL East the NL Central and NL East winners that have worse records than the Giants and Padres might end up having. So it's disappointing because it kind of takes away the fun. If you're a Padre or Giants fan, you're like, God damn it, one of us is going to be done. And especially if you're a Giants fan, because this is lightning in a bottle. This roster is just plain out not sustainable for the Giants. Posey's old, Belt's on contract about to be up, Crawford's old, Longoria's old. So they don't have a roster that's conducive to long-term success. And then you look at the Padres, they're just like, okay, we're going to be good for forever. But the Giants, I mean, you get to that wild card game and lose, you're like, well, that was a fun little journey, but it ended in one night. So that's the only shitty part about this division.
Yeah, we talk about all the time. I think the wild card game is such a injustice to baseball. I think it is. It really kind of, it's exciting. I've as a Rays fan, I've been a part of how many wild card games now? 3, and they've won all 3. It's exciting. It's one night. You throw everything at the other team you can, and the stress and anxiety of it. It's if you're not a fan of the teams playing, it's fun as hell to watch. It really is. But when you're a fan of the team, it's your whole season, 162 games, and everything you've done and fought for, and all the the guys you picked up the trade deadline. It's like, all for what? You lose, and it's like, what was that all for? You lost. Maybe you gave up some key minor league pieces to go make a run, and now it's all over, like you said, in one night. So I think I propose this. That's what I was thinking as you were talking about the Giants lightning in a bottle kind of deal. It's like, how about this? I like the idea of seeding that goes hand in hand with shorten the season, do seeding. That way it makes these teams that are playing lights out, gives them a chance and give them a series. And I think the structure and the format needs to be changed in Major League Baseball, because like you said, a Giants team that's finding ways to win with this old roster, it's good for baseball. It's like this team was projected to be second to last place, and should be nowhere close to where the Dodgers and the Padres are. But they're finding ways to win, and I think if they keep playing this well and they get gypped and get that wild card game, I think it sucks. It's not good for the game, because I would love to see the Giants in a 7-game set against, let's say, the Dodgers or the Padres, or maybe the Cubs even. So it doesn't. I just think baseball needs to take a hard look at it, because you have 3 of the best teams in baseball right now, neck and neck in the division, and like you said, 2 of them will end up playing in the wild card if the season were to end today. So I think most baseball fans kind of think the way we do, but not everyone, evidently.
Well, we'll see in the CBA after the year, when we're going through labor negotiations for 6 months, that this will almost definitely come up, because we've seen the rumors. Manfred's like, hey, let's just do 18 teams to the play. Dude, they better not do some extreme shit like that. The most I would go is another team, maybe 2. I'm not doing I didn't even like last year. It's too much. You don't want no offense, CJ. You don't want the Miami Marlins making the playoffs. Okay. Yeah. It's just not worth it. Right. I mean, I get it. Gets fans invested, but it turns into the NBA, where this year in the NBA, you have the play-in games with teams that were 33 and 41. And it's like, why is the 12 seed out of 15 getting a chance to do? It's just stupid, right? So we can't get to that point in baseball, because that's why the World Series is always valued, because not many teams get the opportunity to even get the chance to get it, whereas in other sports there's way more teams that get in, although the tournaments are longer, so it's just a different argument. But yeah, playoffs, I just hope Manfred, because he's doing a lot of dangerous stuff with and this conversation for a different pod, because it could be a full hour, but all the stuff he's trying to introduce, the 3-batter rule, the stuff this year with the Texas tiebreaker, there's just stuff that I'm a little bit worried about in terms of his direction for the league. But is there anything you got to say about that?
Yeah, no, I think that we've covered this. We could beat it to death. I just hate some of these new rules. I like the 3-batter rule. I think it makes the manager strategize a little bit more. It's kind of, all right, I can't go in every batter and change pitchers. It makes the game way too long. And yes, baseball it's meant to be long. I don't think you can try to change all these, like the Texas tiebreaker. You can try to make the game as short as you want, but you can never change the game of baseball. You're never going to get it under 2 hours. You're never going to go into a game and it's be like, oh, I'm going to be out there in an hour and a half. No, you're going to be there at the
Nobody
ballpark for
wants to do that if
3
you pay for a
hours.
ticket.
Exactly. So you can't change baseball. Baseball will never change, but there's some things you can definitely look at, like shorten the schedule. You don't need to be playing 162. Make it 110 and make the season shorter. I'm a really big believer in that. And as well as what is Manfred doing? The tiebreaker. Oh yeah, I just lost my train of thought because I think Lau just singled, or did he homer? Oh, he singles. Sonino scores. Rays lead 3-1. But yeah, the whole Texas tiebreaker thing, I think that's bullshit. I liked it in the COVID year, shortened year, experiment with it. I think it's stupid. How many Rays in the Yankees games this year have gone extra innings? I think 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yankees have won 2 of the 3 or 2 of 4, something like that. But it just it doesn't show who the better team is in that game. It sucks, especially for a team. Let's say you clawed all the way back into a game, you're down 5-0, come back and tie it, and now you have to go to extra innings and you lose off a tiebreaker. I think they need to abolish that. But yeah, this could be a whole podcast for another time because tons of flaws in the game. I think that they need to really be careful what they're doing because the game of baseball is great. Just don't want to kind of change it too much where it's not the game we know anymore. So that's my take on that.
One thing he should fucking do is ban the shifts because it's getting to the point, dude. I'm telling you, it's not even the infielders anymore, man. It's the outfielders. Like they put them in the exact fucking spot in the outfield where you'd have doubles 5 years ago, and now they're just outs.
Yep, I hate that. I really do. Another run, baby, double, single, 4, 5-1, 5-1. Need the split here. But the shift, yeah, no, I really do. I really believe that. You look so pissed right now.
Yeah,
the shift is stupid. I think especially with the infield too. You got guys playing up the middle. How many times I've seen Brendan Lau sit like ball straight up the middle over the second base bag. Guys playing right there, in the rover position. I just think if you play the game straight up, play the position where you're supposed to be playing, yeah, you can shift over a little bit, but not adding a 5th outfielder to cover a gap. Like
trash fucking franchise does.
Yeah, we throw like a 5th outfielder or a 4th outfielder out there. Makes no sense to me. I've witnessed a perfect game, a combined no-hitter the Rays had last year, thrown away because we had the shift over and no one was playing second base. So I think the shift's stupid. It works about maybe 60% of the time. And I've seen so many times where a ground ball routine to short, that's through a base hit because no one's playing the position. So, yeah, I hate it. We could drive this thing to the ground too, but I would love to see the shift taken away. And people go, oh, it's strategy. It's part of the game. I go,
just stop.
I'm like, get out of here.
Those are the same people that say if you take pitchers out of the lineup and put the DH, it takes away. No, it fucking doesn't. A double switch is strategy. That's the most retarded point I've ever heard. Every time someone says that to me, oh, it's strategy to pinch hit and double switch. No, it's not.
They're the same analytical people. They're the people that told Kevin Cash take Snell out in the 7th inning of the World Series. The same fucking people that go, oh, he's got 72 pitches, but I like this reliever better against Mookie Betts. I think his slider will get by him. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Man, dude, baseball might be trash in 20 years. For now, though, it's really good. You got to talk about
It's
that.
great now. The ratings, I think teams are all over the place. Teams are like Giants are winning, Rays are winning, the Red Sox. You got a ton of teams that are in the mix. So it's great to be a baseball fan right now.
Absolutely. And then in the only things we'll talk about in the AL, the AL West is kind of boring. Oakland's, in Houston, we know they're going to be back and forth all year. Brantley's on the IL for Houston. He'll be back soon. Jordan was battling a little bit of injury stuff at DH for the Astros. He's now back. But their bats have been going pretty steady. Pitching's been pretty steady, especially their young pitchers, Christian Javier, Luis Garcia, young guys coming out and dealing for them in the rotation. And their bullpen's been pretty good as well. And then Oakland, they're always consistent. Kudos to James Caprillion, just made it in their rotation. He was a Yankee prospect a long time ago, traded, but he's been battling arm injuries for, I think it has to be 3 years at least at this point, because he just made his debut at 26 or 27. So I've always been following him and always hoped he'd make it, and he did. And he's been dealing out there in Oakland. So good for him. And so just, those teams are they're the same every year. So it's kind of redundant to talk about what they're doing now. But you look in that AL Central, it's very interesting actually in the AL Central. You have the White Sox leading. They're probably going to win it. But then the Twins, they're lost. They might be selling in a month. And that's scary because I don't know, man. I mean, the Twins, they won 100 games 2 years ago. They have a lot of bats, but I've always said it about them. Their pitching, they never added to it ever. And they could never lure
some.
Right. They lost some and they couldn't lure anyone in. And so that's their fault. The only guy that they could ever bring in were Nelson Cruz and Josh Donaldson. That's it. And they're like, okay, yeah, we'll hit cleanup in Minnesota and hit 40 bombs. And, well, we're fine with that. That's why they could lure those guys in. Nobody else wants to go there. They know they're not going to win. I mean, seriously, the Twins don't win in the playoffs. So disappointing with them. But then the Royals, they're staying afloat. Benintendi, Salvador Perez having really good years, along with Whit Merrifield as usual. So there's a fourth bat out there that's doing well as well. I forget his name, but yeah, they're doing good. Pitchers are good. Cleveland too. They're even staying afloat, although I think they're going to slow down eventually. But AL Central is pretty tight. But the White Sox, I think they're probably going to be the only team to come out, even though it's really competitive.
Yeah, I think the White Sox just have I think they just have too much talent on that roster right now to be eclipsed by, I think, a Cleveland. Unless the Indians really kind of catch fire with their bats. I just don't know. It's close right now. They're 2.5 games out. You have Ramirez batting 258, Naylor batting 256, Rosario 253. There's two Rosarios actually. It's I think it's Ahmed Rosario.
Yeah, it's Ahmed and Eddie.
But anyway, yeah. So they're both batting 253, 227 respectively. So I take that back. I mean, they're hitting the ball well enough to win games. And you look at their pitching. Shane Bieber 3.08, ERA. Savale, is it Savale?
Yeah, like Aaron Savale or some whatever.
Yeah, he's 3.28 and Plesac 4.14. So kind of on the contrary to what we talked about, how the pitching for Cleveland was going to keep him in it. Now it's the reverse. It's the hitting that's kind of, driven the bus. So if they get Bieber, Savale, and Plesac to get the ERAs down, they start throwing the ball better. Hey, maybe now we're talking about a whole different conversation. So I think the Indians are in a good spot for where everyone had them preseason rankings. Oh, this team's going to fall off the face of the earth. We were part of that kind of talk. So they're in a good position to keep. They're within striking distance for sure. But the White Sox, I think they just have a lot of potential on the pitching side and hitting. They have both are clicking right now, which is obviously why they're in first place. Touching the Royals real quick. We said it too. We said don't sleep on the Royals. I think a 500 a year for them would be outstanding. Anything above that's a win for them. So this division's always it's always tight with the 1 and 2 spot, and then obviously you have a third that's always kind of relevant enough to be within the conversation. So I think the White Sox ultimately win it, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on Cleveland.
Hey, and those Tigers, man, they're a juggernaut, man. They swept the Yankees. They are really in the thick of things. They're amazing. They're the best team in baseball. It's time. We always save it for the end. I rant about the Yankees. Steve brags about the Rays, even though his franchise has never done anything. They made the
Yep.
World
Yeah, I
Series
know.
twice. They don't do anything else. But hey, everyone will come at me and say I'm never hard on the Yankees ever. Does anyone listen to Strictly Yankees? I'm memed on my own team and called one of the podcasts on there the Yankees lose on purpose because Steve always sends me the David Ortiz the Yankees lose. I even called one of my podcasts that, guys. I am harder on the Yankees than I am on any other team, and it's true because this team right now. I listen. Baseball. First of all, your blackout problem is ridiculous. The fact that my TV provider, Frontier, we don't even have Bally Sports. I can't watch the Yankee Rays series, and I live in Wesley Chapel, which is 45 minutes away from Tropicana Field. That's ridiculous. How many Rays fans can't watch Rays baseball right now? And I feel like my dad and I were talking about it. Could be a little conspiracy where they say, "Oh, nobody's watching baseball even on TV," and they kind of dodge that because there's a whole TV provider that doesn't even have them. They might say, "Oh, now that's an excuse to move them somewhere else." Just a little conspiracy. But anyway, I could see Tampa pulling that shit. I really could, especially with the rumors about your owner and
Yeah,
everything
because
like
it's
that.
scumbag.
Seriously, yeah, I could totally see him doing something like that. Because if anyone hasn't heard, I'm going off on a tangent. Supposedly, he has a ton of cash. He could have used it on payroll. He specifically chose not to, and I guess wanted to be penny stock owners of players, and he purposely was trying to lose. Is that what it is?
Yeah, basically there's minority owners, I think, and obviously in sports, there's a ton of minority owners that are a part of organizations. And so, long story short, he's the head owner. There's minority owners that are suing him for basically trying to take ownership of the team. He's been, I guess, negotiating with Montreal stakeholders up there since 2014, trying to get the team out, which makes sense. Little backstory here: there's been proposals from St. Pete, from Tampa, Hillsborough County, Pinellas County. They're trying to figure out a way to keep this major sports team in the Tampa area. You can't lose baseball in Tampa. He's an asshole. He wants to move the team. He's been moving it. And it goes to show what they've been doing. They've been moving these players like Blake Snell, who's on a great team for any deal. You've been moving superstar talent for years. And this guy's worth over $1 billion, doesn't want to spend the money. He wants to move the team. And he's basically just driving the stock of the Rays down, just trying to beat them up, do all these things, and sell the team for more money to fill his pockets. So it's sad.
You know
I
who he
hope they,
is? He's the owner from the Major League movies.
yeah, no, he's undermining everything. Exactly. I mean, that's it. He's
Yeah.
undermining the organization, and it's sad. I hope they find some dirt on this guy because uh, there's just not enough. I could go on a rant for days about this, but basically, he's been undermining the team for years, and basically, they're trying to figure out what's been going on, and basically maybe drive him to sell the team, which I would love because to say that he openly said that Tampa can't support a baseball team, and which is
Bullshit.
complete bullshit.
You know how many kids play? We both live here. You played it. My brother played it. You know how many kids play travel baseball in Tampa?
Yeah, exactly. You move a team down in downtown Tampa. You're in Wesley Chapel. That's a 30-minute drive to downtown. I mean, that's anyone from that area will go. Tampa will pull people. People from St. Pete will even come in. Brandon area. It's just a complete lie. He's just doing whatever he can to sell the team because he doesn't want it anymore. And so, if you don't want the team, sell it to someone that wants it. And I think the league will step in. I don't think they drive a team like the Rays out because what are you going to do? Eliminate the Rays and move them out? Like they're one of the best teams in the American League East. It's
Yeah.
us. It's us, the Yankees, Boston, and then you have Toronto. So they're not going to let a team like the Rays walk from a division like this. So that's my TED talk on the scumbag owner of the Rays.
No, it's terrible, man. And Oakland too. Supposedly they have plans. If they can't stay in Oakland, I think it's three options. It's restructure the old ballpark, which is what they don't want to do. Nobody wants to stay in Oakland. The Warriors left, the Raiders left, the A's don't want to be in Oakland. It's a bad city. Nobody wants to be there. So the second plan is they have a site. I think it's in a much nicer part of Alameda County. They want to go over there. It's on the water. I think it's like across the bay is AT&T Park where the Giants play and all that good stuff. So that's option 2. Option 3, I've heard it might be Vegas, which is exactly what the Raiders did. They went from Oakland to Vegas. So would be weird to hear about the Las Vegas A's, but it could be a possibility, but that's another conversation. But anyway, yeah, back to AL East. Yeah, the Yankees can't hit. It's been like this the entire year. I believe I was listening to the Michael Kay show. He said the Yankees are the worst they've been offensively through this amount of games since 1971. This is just not – they don't do anything fundamental. It's – I feel like I'm saying it over and over again. It's the 4 outcomes with this team: home run, walk, strikeout, or double play, because they've grounded into the most double plays in Major League Baseball. It's infuriating. DJ LeMahieu. And you know, I really wish I would have called this out because I was blinded, and I'll admit it. I was blinded by my Yankee fandom. Before he came to the Yankees, DJ LeMahieu didn't do shit. Okay, he was a good player. He hit. I'm just being honest. You know, he hit 310, he hit 320 a few times. He was never. I mean, Gold Glover, a few All-Star games, whatever. He was never what he was the last 2 years, and now he's hitting 250 something or 260 with 2 or 3 home runs. He's the double play master this year. He's not, and then he gets the $90 million, and this is who he turns into. This might be a terrible contract. Aaron Hicks, 7 years, $10 million a year, out for the year. Now it's 3 straight years of nothing from Aaron Hicks. Aaron Judge is the only Yankee who can sit up right now and say, I'm doing my business, because he's played all year. He hasn't been injured yet. He's like hitting 295, 300. You know, Adiel can shit on him however much he wants, but he's got better stats than anyone on the Rays. So, but his argument is, okay, that's great, but what the Rays do offensively results in wins. And I'm like, okay, you're talking about like a separation of 3 or 4 wins between these two teams in the last 2 years. It's not like it's drastic, right? I mean, the Yankees lost to the Rays by a game. The Yankees lost the division because of injuries. So there's really not this separation between the Rays and Yankees that he likes to think that, oh, just because the Rays win, quote unquote, you know, they had a good year, right? I mean, other than that, these two teams are almost identical record-wise for the last 10 years. But anyway, nobody else. Brett Gardner's terrible, although he homered off you guys today. Clint Frazier, he had the walk-off home run the other day. I don't care, because he doesn't do anything but that. Gio Urshela was in a slump. He gets a home run, great, but he's still in like 260, 270. Glaber, he needs to go. Glaber this year, his exit velocity is the second lowest average in baseball. It's 81 miles per hour. The guy below him, David Fletcher, he's a singles hitter for the Angels, and Glaber's he's the one right above him. So Voit is injured again. Sanchez is terrible. Kluber's out for 2 months. So this team, it's just, there's so many problems. You don't know how to fix them because these guys are going to come back. Who can you even get to fill these positions? And Cashman's stubborn. He has this attitude of, oh, I like what I put together. I think we're fine. He's done it the last 2 trade deadlines. Hey, Cashman, are you going to get any pitchers? No, we're fine. We're confident in our ball club. We've got enough pitchers. It drives me insane, So he's doing it again. He's still saying, I like what we've got. Aaron Boone in the dugout after games. He literally said this after a loss, after one of the Tigers' losses. I like our at-bats. They're getting better. Are you kidding me, man? Like, this guy is such a wuss. He won't call out the team, and it's infuriating. The Yankees, listen, Barstool posted a headline, if you hate your team when they suck, it's okay. That's where I'm at right now. This team, it should be embarrassed.
What's the podcast? The Boston guy on Barstool, is it Carabas? Jason Carabas?
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's so funny. It was the judge was up to bat, bases loaded, I think in the 9th against Tigers. He goes, a grand slam tying homer from Judge, and he swings and misses. And I'm like, bro, he just trolls him. But yeah, no, everything you're saying with the Yankees is true. I mean, I watch this team probably second to most, and the Rays, and then the Red Sox. Obviously, everyone in the AL East I watch equally as much, except for the Orioles. Team sucks. Anyway, but I'm going to kind of spin zone this all the way back to the Red Sox. It's going to tie in a little bit. So the Yankees don't really have an identity. I really don't think they have an identity to who they want to be or what the direction is right now. They throw all this money at these players, like I said, LeMahieu, and everyone gets kind of clouded by these contracts and, oh, he had one good year and this and that. Yeah, these players are lights out when they're on their game. Judge, same way. Glaber had his stint, Urshela, and Clint Frazier. I don't think he's found his game yet. But you have all these guys that you think are going to put into a lineup and they're going to win you games. And you can't keep asking your pitching staff to keep doing what they're doing every night and win you games. The hitting needs to step up and find their identity. I don't know what the hell they're doing because it's home run or nothing right now. Last night or 2 nights ago, you were like, oh, Clint Frazier doing what he does best, hitting home runs. He wins the game. Great. Nice job. It clouds the bigger problem with the underlying problem with the Yankees is they're not getting on base enough. They're not driving runners in scoring position when they have chances. Like the fourth inning today, I'm looking at it. They had runners on, second and third, one out, couldn't get a guy home. Just not driving runners in, not putting quality at bats together. And what happened today is you think, okay, Garrett Cole's on the mound. We're going to get a win. He gives up 5 today. And if they don't come back, well, damn, that's a guaranteed win, quote unquote, which should be. And it's not. And so you look at, and then you point the finger at the hitting. Well, you scored 1 run today off Ryan Yarbrough. What the hell? And now this is where I spin it toward the Red Sox. They have the manager, right? Alex Cora. They love playing for that guy. They do. As much as we can hate him, they cheated, whatever. They love playing for that guy for some reason. Whatever he instills, whatever motto, whatnot. And now I never really shifted the blame on Aaron Boone for the Yankees. But now you look at maybe there's a problem there in the clubhouse. The message is not getting across. It's probably the same lackadaisical attitude of, all right, we're fine. We'll be good. We have enough talent. Okay. There's a point now where there's got to be a message in that clubhouse going, you better get your shit together, Judge, LeMahieu, whoever. Get in the face of your superstars and be like, I need you to step up and we got to change our approach. Because right now the Red Sox are playing that philosophy with they might not be as good as everyone else, but their managers instilling that into them to win ball games. And that's how I've kind of looked at the two parallels here is that's why they're winning games and they don't care what happens. They just go out and play and they just go, hey, we're going to go win no matter how we do it. We're going to get on base. We're going to score. I just think they have an identity. And the same thing with the Rays. They have that identity right now is we're going to get on base. We're going to grind and win. New York, it's expected. It's like we're going to go out there and we're just going to win solely off our name and our talent.
Yankees, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I've been seeing. That's what I've been putting together because we wrote the Red Sox off and they're still not. They've lost a couple of games in a row the last few nights, but that's their first struggle that they had all year. So that's my rant on it. I think the Yankees are just too good to be held down. It's just there's no identity. They're really that's the bottom line. The coaches, the GMs, like Cashman. Oh, I like what I've seen, dude. You should be killing the Tigers. I mean, the Red Sox played Detroit and they were beating them 10-1, 9-2. Just not even competitive.
Well, what it was is this Boone philosophy when he got in, where I'm not saying this is what Boone decided. He's a puppet. Okay, so it was either him or it was Cashman, whichever one. They're looped together either way. The philosophy started when he got here, though, of days off, right? Oh, we're going to get Judge 2 days off this week, DH. Then we're going to take series off. We're going to do this Scranton shuttle. We're going to do 6-man rotation, bring a guy up just to send him down. That's what they did in Detroit. After they pitched, I forget who it was. They one of their main pitchers, after he pitched, the rest of the series, the only pitchers they used were guys that they sent down and knew they were sending down after the game. Davy Garcia, Michael King, Nick Nelson, Nestor Cortez, Albert Abreu, all these guys, they do it over and over again. Up, down, up, down, up, down, because they're like, oh, well, this is what we do to save our guys' bullpen. This is what we do so we don't have to use Chad Green 57 times in the regular season. This is how we save Zach Britton in a 6-month season. Stop. You are in no business of going into Comerica Park saying this is our off series. This is the series where, oh, we're going to save and prepare for Tampa and Boston. What have you done to say that you're secure enough that you can just walk into Detroit and win? Because you lost all 3 games. And it's Boone saying, oh, we're in Detroit. We're going to get our guys some work in. Today's Gio's turn. It's a scheduled day off. And, Glaber's a little banged up and had a stuffed nose last night and slept 4.5 hours, and he needs a day. And stop.
It is. And it's the point of me. I was talking the other day with my dad, who's like, you know what the Rays and the Red Sox are doing right now? They're finding games, they're finding wins early. They're going, I don't care if I use Diego Castillo or I use my bullpen enough right now, because we're going to find some time middle of the season when we have 50, 60 wins that he can take a couple of days off. We're already 15, 20 games above 500, for example. The Yankees right now, like I said, made a great point. They're going, okay, we're playing Detroit. Let's try to finesse our way around and get these wins instead of going, hey, I'm going to throw my best lineup at you, and we're going to win 9-1. And I'm going to throw Chad Green. I'm going to throw Chapman, and we're going to shut this damn game down, and we're going to win convincingly. The Red Sox go out there, and the Rays have done it. I saw it against Baltimore last week. We went, all right, we're going to throw our best lineup out there. We won 10-1. We threw every single bullpen guy out there and just go, we're going to win this game. And the more wins you get early, you have that security blanket. So later on in July and August, you have that room to go, hey, Chapman, you can take 2 days off. We'll give some other guy some work. We're already 25 games above 500. But right now, you're in a dogfight to where you need to be throwing these guys out every single night to get those wins, to catch up to Boston, Tampa, get back in that wild card mix to even make the playoffs. So yes, there's a long way to go, but it's been a trend now since day one where they've been going up and down, up and down, up and down. And I see the frustration because we've played you all so many times, and it's the same thing keeps happening. It's been tight game after tight game after tight game. They just can't shove it in someone's face and just go, this is what our roster is, and we're going to go with that. It's right. Too many off days. And it's kind of if I was a fan, I'd be beyond pissed, because I'm looking at this Red Sox team and almost every starter has played every night for them. And where they've played 55 games, and Bogarts, Devers, Vasquez, Hunter Renfroe, J.D. Martinez, they've all played 50 games. They've missed 4 games all year.
Do the Dodgers players get days off?
Exactly.
No. The Yankees are the only team that does it. And who has the most injuries? And by the way, you brought up earlier about players like to play for Cora, and it loops in too. The Yankees don't look like they're ever having fun. Mm-hmm. They look like they are tortured and pressing and scared, quite frankly. Like they don't look strong. That's why the Rays can walk into Yankee Stadium and say, we're going to beat you, and not even be scared, because the Yankees look scared themselves. And that wasn't even the case last year. There was still that, oh, well, they're still, I mean, maybe not for you, but at least for me, it was like, okay, we're still formidable. This year, the Tigers came and humiliated us. Now any team can go in and be like, these guys are not confident right now. They're not scared. And look what the Rays did today. Garrett Cole on the mound. The Yankees are like, oh, we're going to win 3 out of 4. Here we go. Home series win. Red Sox tomorrow. Let's do it. 5-1, 5th inning. Cole sucks for a day. Game over, because you can't score runs. And that's been what this whole season is like.
Yeah, and that's just what it's been. And like you said, a great point. It's the intimidation factor, but it's not there, because you look at and you see the body language of the guys in the dugout. It's like guys look like they're just kind of like they're sitting there like, all right, here another day at the ballpark.
We all know we suck, but no one wants to step up. Yeah.
It's not like, oh, let's go, let's get some. It's not like there's no juice in that dugout. I watched the Red Sox the other night, and it's like guy hits a home run, everyone's like, yeah, jumping up and Cora's into it. You watch the Rays, G-Man Choi hits a home run, or someone it's like big play happens and everyone's jumping around. Yahoo! It's like they're little leaguers again. It's like the Yankees. It's like, all right, home run, shake my hand, and blah blah blah. Like, yeah, if it's 9-1, you don't have to be jumping around, hoo and hawing. But they have fun. And it's like the Yankees have fun at a certain point. They hit a walk-off the other night. Didn't even look like they enjoyed, like they were happy, but it was like, all right. But it
Clint
is.
Frazier, this is what pissed me off about the guy because like he has no room to talk ever, and he just does. But he's like, man, the clubhouse was like Club 161 last night. We were having so much fun. It's like what, man? Like what?
Oh my, yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know. They just gotta have to loosen up, but you can't loosen up when you're in New York in a way because the media, it's the constant pressure. But you kind of like you have to block out that noise after a point. And I think for them, it's trying to find that medium of what, let's just go out and play the game. And I don't know, maybe Boone is the problem. Maybe the message isn't getting through their head.
It's to me.
Maybe it's been.
It's really just cash.
Yeah, maybe it's been repetitive from the top. It goes from the top to the bottom. It's like if the message is being sent from the top, like, okay, we're fine. We're loosey goosey. It is what it is kind of attitude. Now it's like if Cashman said, this is what needs to change. We're going to make moves and this is how we're going to play. The message gets sent from the top, and
that's what they need
we can
to
keep
do.
beating this up, but it's got to be sent.
Yeah, that's what needs to happen. Trade somebody. It's got to happen. But your Rays keep shoving, man. I mean, respect to them. Pitchers are. I mean, everyone can pitch on that team. They've got guys stockpiled still in the minors. They're hitting. Like you said, Wander Franco might be on the way. So the Rays have been good, and they're going to keep winning. They're not going to go away, and they've been really good this year. So looks like they're going to split with the Yankees here. Yankees get the Red Sox this weekend. Rays get who? Who do they play next?
We have the Rangers this weekend on the road.
There you go. Get a sweep there, 2 out of 3 at least.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, other than that, there's really not any other big major storylines going on right now. Last week we talked about the La Russa thing. We minorly addressed the Ozuna situation because we really don't want to get into it that much. But we'll have another Strictly Baseball next week. We'll have Strictly Hockey coming back next week. Strictly Sports kind of in the off season right now. NFL not coming back for a little bit. We've got the other podcast going on. Strictly Yankees. It's been a while. Why? Because I just did that on this. I'm just gonna have to go on that and then yell again, and it's just like it ruins my day. I'm like, God damn, man, I'm pissing myself off.
So. Yeah, it's almost like at a certain point, like how do you know it's been spoiled? But when the Rays in the beginning of the season, I kind of just tuned it out. I'm like, all right, struggle. And like, if I talk about it, I'm gonna make myself mad. And it's like it's one of those things where you kind of just have to not even watch the games for a little bit. And,
I haven't watched. I mean, yeah.
It's kind of for your own sake. It's like when the Rays were struggling. I said it was better for me not to watch it because I would get so frustrated with what was happening. But it's fine now for the time being, and they've given themselves enough room. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think you guys are in an interesting spot, especially going to the Red Sox this weekend. Could be you guys haven't seen each other all year, so this could be one of those. Hey, let's maybe kickstart it a little bit. But we've been saying that for 2 months. Yep, no Garrett Cole. You got him today, so that's what kind of hurts. So. I don't know. Long way to go. I shouldn't keep saying that because we're literally All-Star break is in a month. So teams have to make moves and adjustments need to be made, and it'll be July before we know it.
Yes, sir. So you can find all of our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can look us up on YouTube. Just search up Strictly Sports Productions in the search bar. Go to the channel. Under the playlist section, we got all the podcasts separated, so you can find them all pretty easily. Follow us on Twitter at Strictly Sports P and on Facebook and Instagram at Strictly Sports Productions. For Steve Cash and I'm Jacob Brown, and we will see you next week.